back, guys. We are on the next episode of Tea Talk. Guys, I am so excited today because being on a podcast about resellers with the man, the myth, the legend, the podcaster himself, the first creator. I remember being on your podcast. Now you're online. Guys, if anybody doesn't know, this is Flipmo Pickers. Flip is the kind of guy that when you go into a show that he's on, not only do you have the best time of your life, you go into an experience, you can tell he has a massive community behind him, and people just go there not only to enjoy themselves and to have fun with some karaoke and some cool tunes, but they also go there to be a part of a reselling brand and a reselling community. So Flip not only has launched a podcast on Whatnot, he's got a YouTube series himself. He's just someone that is willing to sacrifice to make his dreams come true and believes in his vision.
Appreciate that.
Guys, without further ado, this is Flipmo Pickers. Flip, do me a favor, man. Just tell everybody at home, like, how did you get into this crazy world of reselling that we're all in?
I've been doing this for a long time, you guys. I've been doing reselling. How I started is when I came here from the Philippines and I was 11, my uncle took me to the flea market when I was 11. So every Sunday here that I go to now that I do my videos, my uncle took us there. So I've been going to this flea market since I was a kid. So reselling wise, I started this when I moved out with my mom to go to get an apartment with my ex-wife, where I was a banker and I would sell jerseys. So when I was in high school, I loved jerseys. So after high school, back then, 2004, when I graduated, yeah, I know I'm that old, but back in high school, everyone's wearing jerseys, right? So I know what it looked like. I know it was the real one because I wear them in high school. So after high school, that's when I started selling jerseys. So I just started, I was a banker, and then when there's a garage sales, I would just look for jerseys. So it started with jersey. But back then when I was a kid, that's how it started. But after the pandemic, I started going to flea market, and when they opened up, and then one of my person that I buy from, his name is, I forgot his name. He's actually in my YouTube, but I don't put his name in there. I forgot his name. But Richard. He's this Filipino guy that I always buy from, and he buys from me with bike parts and stuff. So I would go over there and he asked me, like, hey, have you ever tried selling at the flea market? I tried it once and I loved it. So I start going to garage sales on Friday. So what I do is, I'll go on a Saturday morning. I would go garage sales and pick up all the stuff like gardening, toys, jerseys, t-shirt. A lot of people are coming from vintage clothing. I know nothing about vintage clothing, and they come to me and I was just sell it for like $5-10. So Saturday comes, I use my dad's van. I don't have to take it out. The next day on Sunday, I will go to flea market. So that's how the resellers started going and going and going. And then when I used to fix my bikes, I used to watch this guy named Picker Warehouse on YouTube. Look him up, you guys. Picker Warehouse. His name's Justin. I would watch him. They're YouTuber that would go live on YouTube, where he's getting like 40 to 50 people on the chat. Customer buying constantly about comics and all that stuff. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Whatnot. That's what I sell you guys. But on Whatnot, it's easy swiping, right? On YouTube, they would have to bid commenting. Like, let's say I'm running this thing right here for
Yeah,
$10. So you claiming on a comment like $10, so on. Okay, 10 right now, 15, so on and so on. So I would watch this guy, Justin would just pick a warehouse every Wednesday while I'm fixing my bike. I already know he's gonna be on 6. He's gonna be on till 10. So I have 4 hours while I'm fixing my bike, watching him, constantly watching what sells right now. And I was like, man, that's so cool. Like, I could do that. He doesn't even show his face, right? So I watch all these YouTuber where I watch Harris Tornado, all these YouTuber reselling, right? Got garage sales and flea market, like, mention Whatnot. And that's when I was like, what the heck is Whatnot?
And you know what's crazy too is, like, for a lot of people at home, right, that maybe Whatnot is like, they're not even at that level yet, right? They're just trying to figure out how the hell we even got into reselling in the first place. It's cool how your mindset going into things was seeing opportunities in places, right? And it's funny you say bikes, because I don't resell bikes. I'm not a bike reseller by any means. But recently, wifey and I got a bike, and we were, going to take it for a tune-up just because. And I'm in the bike store, and I see the guys like, hey, this bike's $1,100. This bike's $1,300. This bike's $2,000, $800. And I'm on Facebook Marketplace myself now, just sitting there going like, you can resell anything as long
You
as you
can.
have the energy, the time, and the passion for it.
You can.
You could do it, right? Now, I want to ask you. So the one thing I've noticed was very unique to how you came into this, right? Obviously, you have the experience on other platforms. You have the mindset with your family growing up, going to a garage sale and flipping it at flea markets. What inspired you early on to think, hey, you know what? I'm not going to just focus on the dollars and the cents. I want to go and build a brand and go on YouTube, right? What was that initial spark of like, I'm gonna do YouTube as well as just the flips?
The YouTube. So I start, like I said, I started doing the flea market. Couple of YouTuber came in, and I started becoming friends with them. If you guys know, he's a his name is Matt, Part Time Pickers. If you guys watch Part Time Pickers, Picker Warehouse, that's when Justin was going crazy. With the YouTube, he's starting with it, and he kind of slowed down a little bit. Storage Pirate, Storage Auction Pirate, which is Mike. He's a big YouTuber here. There's a lot of YouTuber here on the Bay Area where um they asked me like, "Hey, you should be a YouTuber." And I was like, "I can't. I'm too old." This is back 5 years ago. I was like, "I don't know how to edit." Now, you know what I mean? Like I'm scared to do that. When I was in high school, I suck at doing that. How it was is that like I said, I was watching all this YouTuber. I was like, God dang, I think I could do that. You know what I mean? It was just an idea, like me and you back then, right? Or you're like, man, I want to do YouTube, but we've never done it. We never done it. We always say, I think I could do that, right? I think I could. Like back then, it was cool too because I was going garage and I was picking up and I'll make more money. And I wish I had YouTube or camera that I can show this. So that's when it started. When Part Time Pickers and Picker Warehouse, you're getting all this picker, right? That's why my name is Flipmo Pickers, with all those pickers behind, right? Because I watch all these people like hair tornadoes. I watch all this. I was like, man, that's cool, right? And so one day, Part Time Pickers told me, "Is like, man, how you should be a YouTuber." I was like, "Nah, I don't believe him." That was the first YouTuber that came in, and I didn't believe him. I was like, "Nah, I can't do what you guys are doing. I'll let you guys do your thing, right?" And so the second person is Picker Warehouse, and then the third YouTuber, he's Filipino and he got so big in the Philippines. His name is LA to Manila Bay. He focused a lot on hats, vintage hats, right? I went to his YouTube. I commented like, "Hey, you guys should go to Concord Flea Market. You'll find a lot of stuff." And then he instantly imagine, as a viewer, right, like a regular viewer, as a YouTuber, like, "Oh, these guys are big." And then he replied to me. He said, "Hey, do you have any Instagram or Facebook?" I have Facebook. He messaged me on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, are you a seller in Concord?" And flea market, I said, "Yeah, I do sell over there. Hey, one of these days, I should put you on YouTube so that all the Filipino people can see, or Asia, or all the people from all over the world can see what's the mind of Filipinos selling here in America and US." So I was like, for real, like, as a fan, like, oh my God, you're gonna put me on YouTube, you know what I mean? So he came in, same thing. We talked before all the show came in and like, hey, just relax, just be yourself. I'm gonna interview you. And you watched LA to Manila Bay. I was actually there. He interviewed me while selling at the flea market. The bike was big. Everything I was selling, it was there. He's like, man, he's got a lot of good stuff. After that, he's like, bro, you should be a YouTuber. I was like, okay, you're the third person who told me that. You know what? I'm gonna try to do it. I bought my laptop. I bought my GoPro. I bought everything. Actually, I didn't do my GoPro. I was doing the gee, I don't have it here now, but I didn't. It's like a unicorn camera. You know what I mean? It's like, but I want us to hit the GoPro. But the third one, which his name is Paulo Cordova. Have you seen in my video now when I go to Alameda in one of the videos that he's the one who pushed me to it because he was like, yo, Flip, watch my video. I watched this guy from 2,000 followers within 1 week to K because he caught the Filipinos' eyes just like that. And I was like, if you watch my YouTube is actually like I'm converting it. Like I convert it from the Philippines and I would talk in my language, Tagalog and stuff, right? And you see the video, I would convert the US to Philippine dollars because I was try to catch that audience on
Uh,
stuff. So you know what I mean? So the YouTube.
and by the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
lot of people at home that don't know this, the Filipino vintage market is massive. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest vintage markets in the world, maybe alongside Japan. So for anybody's wondering like why Flip is mentioning the Philippines as a target demographic, just know guys, I would say the Philippines is maybe like hand in hand with the American market for vintage. It could be maybe even that they're actually a little bit more aggressive with it. So
Yeah,
continue. I didn't mean
actually,
to interrupt you. Yeah.
no, 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 you were. No, no, you good. Yeah, we good. We good. Actually, Asia, like Thailand, China, Japan, Philippines. Philippines are really big with hats. Ever since even when I was back then when I was 11, hats was big over here. So when I came here, I know nothing about. So I'm learning hats right now, and I do sell hats now. And watching Paulo, which is Manila, LA to Manila Bay, they teaching me to learn about what hats is going on, like those vintage. So there's more to learn. Those just watch their videos, but they're actually advanced. What's crazy too is that Asia buy vintage clothing from us here in US to bring it back there to sell it more. So they're actually like over there, they're like, we've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're first, whatever they're doing there, they're doing it first over there in Asia, and now it's hitting the US. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I've seen a lot of vintage guys the people that I talk to. Like I know nothing about like vintage clothing or hats or anything. So with that said too, with how I started with YouTube is that, man, I didn't know how to edit. And you know who taught me how to edit? My nephew. And back then he was like in high school. I have no laptop, I have no nothing. And I was like, I'm gonna try this. And if you watch my first video, you could tell it's like, bro, what I would do is I was using my nephew's PC. So when he goes to school in high school, which is 8 a.m., I'm in his room editing. By the time he comes back at 3 p.m., I'm out of his room. So I have to do it again. So that first video that I did on my YouTube, it took me about 10 days.
Wow.
10 days. Cause you have to upload it and it's not like how I have iPhone now and then I have my Mac. So I can just like what do you call that when you just ship the picture in there? It's right there. You just click it, you share it with the iMac. What it's in the tip of my tongue. What is that? What is that called? Like you sharing it. So before you have to take a picture, save it. It will take about 10 minutes to save it and then put it in your email and then open it with YouTube that I'm using, the Movavi that I'm using. Now it's like from iMac to my iPhone, it's 2 seconds, just like that. But imagine back then, if I can do editing, you guys, everyone can be a YouTuber.
It's funny too because if anybody's ever seen any of Flip's videos, Flip is, and you can even see it from the podcast so far. Your mind is very fixated on community because you're thinking of people that have put an impact on you, and you've impacted them, and who was involved in your process. And a lot of your videos are like that. You'll at people, and you'll actually promote others in your channel. And if you meet someone at a flea market, you'll actually put their own account right in their name, right? This way people can find them. So it's crazy when people think to themselves, like, I can't start a YouTube channel. This is too hard. The editing. This is someone that, look, but your videos, man, are so polished and so clean and so, I mean, they're so exciting to watch and enjoyable to watch. To think it took you 10 hours the first time, or you said 10 hours or 10 days?
10 days.
10
10
days the first
days.
time. I was about
Because
to say, yeah.
I had to wait for my nephew to leave his room so I can edit in his PC. You know what I'm saying? So 10 days. Now it takes me about 6 to 8 hours just to edit one video for like 30 minutes. With that, it's a learning process. You gotta spend some money, time to it. And it's hard, but it's doable. It's just a time consuming where everyone sits there for 6 hours where I do, and then you gotta wait for uploading it. And it's sometimes when the monetize is not you're not gonna get paid, you gotta redo it again, and it sucks. It's a lot of process to it, but I loved it. I love doing it. So it's like I have fun with it. And you mentioned where people are like, oh, it's cool that you bringing people to the community, mentioning their name in YouTube. Do you want to know the reason of that? And I'm being bitter about it.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm excited.
So so if you guys don't know, you guys, my YouTube, my videos is that if I met you and then you hook me up or whatever, like if you have Instagram, I would put your Instagram in my videos because one time I met a YouTuber and I was so excited, like, oh, what's your name? They asked me, hey, what's your name? Da, da, da. He never, and I waited and waited and waited. I was like, this guy is not gonna put my name out there. Like, I support you. You know what I mean? Like, help me out because we all in here networking, right? So my networking is that before I didn't have a YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, like put me in there. So I promised myself, like, if I become like over 1,000 followers, that was my goal, right? If I like become a YouTuber with over 1,000 followers, I'm not gonna change. I'm gonna put you on my YouTube no matter what. And if he sees in my video, you guys, I meet a lot of people where it takes me about at least 20 minutes just to get. I gotta take a screenshot of your name on Instagram, card that, put it on my photo, share it, and on my laptop, put it in there. You know what I mean? It takes a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
takes
time
time.
just doing all that stuff too. So imagine, I can now before I probably like do it for 5 minutes. Now I could do it for like 2, 3 minutes. Imagine if I have 10 people. That's a lot of time just editing that alone. Getting
Oh, yeah.
and sometimes I can't find their name when I ask them, hey, what's your Instagram? Before I was doing it, hey, what's your Instagram? And I could never get the name. So now what I do, Joe, is that when I want to put them on my YouTube, or I put them no matter what, I put them in, hey, can I have your Instagram now? Give me a follow. That's how you connect also, where hey, can I get your Instagram now? And then you get mine and I'll put you on YouTube. Is that okay? You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, it's okay. So what I will do is once they put it in there, I take a snapshot on it, a screenshot on it, that is saver. So I don't have to do it later on when I edit.
Makes
So I
sense.
don't forget. It's like, oh, I bought that from this person, this amount, and that's how I'm doing it. So that's what it is, man. I was just so bitter of like, man, I wasn't on YouTube. This guy did not put me on YouTube. So I promised myself where when I meet people the people that's hooking me up with my prices and the inventory that I need, I'm gonna put on Instagram so everyone else could eat. Everyone else, like he hooked me up. I hope I can bring at least 2 to 3 people to, hey, I seen you on Flipmo Pickers that you give him a deal. You know what I mean? Can you do me the same deal like that? And they do it. Now they're making money too. What's crazy though, I don't regret it. It's just that when I tell people that oh man, this guy, he hooked up Flipmo Pickers. Now the next time I go to him, he doesn't have the items anymore because he sells it for the person that I put them in there. You know what I mean? Like it's gone. The inventory that I'm gonna get it from this person is that it's gone now because someone else seen my video where they bought it, and then because they seen him in the video. You know what I mean? So, but it's all good. I eat, you guys eat, and everyone eat in the community, and
Yeah,
that's how it is.
it's funny too because I think there is a part of reselling. Even last episode, talking to Bex, where she was like, "Hey, I can give you the insight and hey, give you a general understanding of something, but I'm not going to give you the plug, right? I'm not going to give you that.
Right.
Can't give you the keys to the castle. I can just tell you the castle
Exactly.
exists." Now, the big thing though is I've always seen that you're big on community, right? Initially, taking the time to plug, maybe it got a plug away or a few shirts that sold, but I've seen that theme in your channel outside of just YouTube. I mean, speaking of that, the podcast, right? Now, when I first met you on Whatnot, I think it was more just like your energy, your charisma, just being like such an easy person to watch. What really like stood out to me though was out of nowhere, I hear you're doing a podcast and there's no profit. You used to tell people when they came in, hey, don't buy from me, go to someone else's show if you're looking to spend money. This is to support the community. I've never seen that before, right? There was never any there was nothing like that on Whatnot at the time. Someone that just cared about the people behind the scenes. So what sparked that? Like what was the main kind of epiphany of like, I should do a podcast on Whatnot?
I was so with that. How that started is that I was brand new to Whatnot, right? So I got in there, and I think we're all similar. Where if you're a Whatnotter, if you guys don't know Whatnot, please download Whatnot. So how that happened is that I was there for like a week or two, and I was constantly just buying. I was constantly buying, and then I would see people with 3 people in there, no one's buying. I don't care. I would just buy it like to support them, like to make new friends, and I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I was brand new. I was like not even 100 followers, so I start for a week. I start buying and buying, buying and buying, buying. So within let's just say about 3 weeks to 4 weeks, a month later. I got tired of it because I was spending $1,000, $2,000 a week.
Wow.
But I would flip it though. So I was spending 1,000. I would flip it to 2,000. So that's how my money comes back and forth. Where to the point where I was like, okay, I spent too much money last week. The only time right now is like one night I was just like, I don't want to spend any more money. And the only time I could do that is to go live. So if I'm live, I'm not going to spend no money, right? So I went live on Whatnot. I sat there with the same phone, sit here, and it's just like hey, what's going on? What's going on, you guys? And I don't know if you know Two of Two. Two was there, and this guy, his name, but his name is Ray. Forgot his whatnot name. So Two and Ray and them. It was like 10 p.m. and then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, do you want to co-host me?" I forgot his name. His name is Ray. God dang it. Anyways, Ray came in. I don't know him. He doesn't know me. He's just like, "Do you want to co-host?" He said, "Okay." Start co-hosting. And then before that, I was just like, "Hey guys, I'm just here to chill. And if you guys want to come in and talk to me and co-host, let's co-host." Because I'm tired of buying stuff. And if you've been buying a lot of stuff and whatnot, this is a place to be just to hang out. So you don't have to go out there. So I'm like, cock blocking all the sellers, which back then is like, I don't want to spend no more money. I spent too much money, right? So they're like, okay, so I get like 10 people. We got 15 people. And all of a sudden there's like 25 people in there just hanging out. And so we were talking, and then we were just fooling around. And then if you guys don't know, Rework came in, and this is guys, whatnot back then, it was like to get followers, you got to do certain things, right? I didn't even plan to get some followers and do my networking. It was just like someone came in and then they talk about like how Goodwill is like gonna hire people to get all the vintage clothes to pick it out. And then they start talking about it. They just start talking, and then Rebirth is one of the biggest name on whatnot when I started, right? And he still is. He's like, co-host me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. So I was like, my hair standing up. So I went from like 15 to 20 people. And I co-host him. He started talking about like vintage clothing and what Goodwill's doing, hiring people. So we're not gonna see a lot of vintage clothing anymore on Goodwill, right? And he was so on the point, like 2 years later, they really did hire, and he was talking about like the future of like, oh, this is what they're gonna do. They're gonna hire people to take out all the vintage clothes, so we're not gonna eat anymore. That's crazy because people inventory. That's where we get our inventory for vintage clothing, right? And all of a sudden you're gonna hire people so they can sell it in their own page. But anyways, I went from 15 to 20 people, and Reaver got it all up to at least 60 to 80 people right away. So I'm on the spot interviewing this guy, listening to this guy, and he's just talking about like the business and stuff. And me and Two of Two, we're like, but what the heck is going on? Like we just had 80 people, and 80 people is big until now. 80 people, if you can have 80 people and whatnot going streaming, just talking, is crazy. Like, right? So after that stream, me and Two of Two are like, bro, Flip, you gotta keep doing this. You gotta keep doing co-hosting people. So every Sunday I went live, and I didn't call it podcast. The people that's watching me call it podcast. I call it hanging out. Like, come chill with Flipmo Pickers. That was my first title. Is the first person that I interview is King of Change. King of Change was big back then with Harley. He was the Harley King, right? And for me, that was like, wow, like people. And then all of a sudden, I'm still getting people are like messaging me, hey, I want to be in the next. I give me goods. Even called it. I was like, give me what should I call this? About Flip. I love what you're doing with the community, bro. You should call this not podcast, but you should call it seller spotlight. So that's when I start calling seller spotlight, because it wasn't me. You come to my show and you talk about it, and if you want to get followers or you introduce whatever you're selling or get to know you as a seller, that was my point of it. My point of it is that when we sell on whatnot, there's not a lot of questions like, who is this guy in front of us selling? You know what I mean? So that was the time to get to know whoever you're buying from. So that was my thing, to get to know you. So everyone started calling podcasts, and it's crazy. Like I was the first one to do that thing, to bring everyone together. It's just like, okay, guys, we're done. Even God's even doesn't go to work on Sunday, right? That was my thing on that. Let's stop working on Sunday. Let's go have a chill night. We have a grab a drink. That's why for me is like, when you go to my show every Sunday, I don't want you buying anything. I just want you to come hang out, get to know your seller or you're buying from, or the people that's in the community, get to know them. So I got a lot of from D Town Vintage, from Active Duty, and from I wanted V4 Vintage in there. There's a lot of people that I wanted in there, but they didn't have no time, and I get it, But I wasn't the guy. I wasn't the guy to be like, hey, can you be in my show? Hey, can you be in my show? No, they're willing, because if I do that, Joe, if I tell her like, hey, can you be here 7:30? I feel like they're obligated to be in there. And what if they don't want to? They're going to cancel the show. So what I do is, I always all the time, if you want to be in my show, please DM me whenever you're free and what Sunday you're available from. So we get a lot of bookmark from. It's not for me like, hey, it's your time to come in. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, hey, remember the show. I want them to know, like, hey, I got a show with Flipmo Pickers to let them know what my side is, what I get to say on the community, or my one set on the table. So that was the whole thing of the podcast, where it was a good show. I think I did it for like a whole year
It
every
was
Sunday. I
incredible.
did not
I
miss it.
loved it.
I did not miss it. I mean, I got a lot of people who are just like, yo, Flip, can you go live? Like, I would just go live when people tell me to go live because they're bored. Like, I can't sleep without you, Flip. Like, I need to hear your voice. It's weird, but I get in a lot of people from that. I'm not trying to, like, that was a fun show. It was a fun show where I would just do a pop up just to hang out and just relax for a minute. Because I think we all needed a beer or two in the end of the night when we do this kind of thing that we do. You know what I mean? Like, this reselling thing, this thing is tough. This thing is hard. People think that going live or going on a camera like this, selling, hey, swipe for $1 2 or reselling, that's the easy part. They think that's the hard part. No, no, that's the easy part when you just come in and just sell something. The hard part is the next day when you gotta pack everything. You know what I mean? And sometimes the canceling and all, you gotta the troll and all that stuff. That's how the podcast started, where I was bored. I sat there and, do you want to come in and talk to me? Because I don't want to spend any more money. That's how it started. It's crazy
Did you?
how you brought that back, Joe. Sorry. It's crazy how you brought
No,
that
no,
back
no.
because I have not done the podcast for a long time. I try to maintain it like I used to, but it's just so much because, like you said, I'm not getting sponsored to it. I'm not getting paid for it. So I got to do my own thing. I took it as, back then, our mindset was, if you have more followers, you'll have more people swiping. But that's not the idea of whatnot. You know what
You
I
know,
mean?
it's crazy. Speaking of that, because I actually wanted to touch on that. So the one thing I noticed is obviously you have your YouTube videos, which is showing a separate part of the brand. And by the way, for everybody at home, I just want you guys to know, like Flip, when he did his podcasts, really what it did is exactly what you said. It created a space for people to do something in the vintage community behind the scenes that people don't even think about, right? Like, when do you think about the real person behind the camera after they're just showing a shirt, right? That's actually one of the inspirations behind me even doing the podcast and why I wanted you on so early on was, it really is important sometimes to think about the person behind the camera because doing this isn't easy, right? I know Julio spoke on it, Roxanne spoke on it, Beck spoke on it, where there's the time aspect of it. There's the challenge of looking at yourself in the mirror and having that conversation every day of, I'm going to turn the camera on and be that person and being authentic to yourself. And there's so many challenges. I appreciate you bringing light to that, man. And what you did for the community, and this is for anybody at home as well. It really made the community realize how important it is to get to know the people that were creating the actual brand of vintage in whatnot. So I appreciate that, man. I wanted to ask you, so, you have YouTube going where that's part of your brand, right? It's behind the scenes, you're recording episodes, you're meeting people locally, you're putting their names in your videos and you're creating that community. Then you have your whatnot community where you're spotlighting sellers and you're scheduling them out and you're doing that and you're running your shows, right? Where you're actually sourcing, selling, shipping, listing. For you, when you were building your brand, what was important to you early on to get all this started?
It's always money. As a reseller, it's always money.
Okay.
But the thing is, going on whatnot, the most important thing to me is you gotta have knowledge, right? You gotta know what to sell. You gotta know what sells. But the thing is, you can't sell things if you don't know what it is. So going to the vintage category, where when I used to sell at flea market, I don't understand why people are buying these old clothes for $400 to $500. So my mindset back then is that I need to get to know what sells for that amount of money. And for me though, Joe, like back then, how I did it is that If I know the item why it's selling for 400, money will follow. Whatever you're doing, whatever I was doing back then, I didn't care back then if I can sell it for $2 or $5 or $400. I didn't care. As long as I know the item and how much it goes for, that's when I know, because that's when it would sell. If you have a person that was be like, hey, I have this shirt and I want you to buy it for $400 without knowing nothing about the shirt, do you think they're gonna buy it for 400? No, right? So for me, going into that kind of business, and the most important thing for me back then is literally like the eye that I'm selling must sell. Same thing when I was selling my bike, where I fixed the bike and I know what's wrong with it. And back then, now I know how I fix it. Now it's perfectly brand new almost. That I got no problem to you selling it for 250. And when you come into me and ask me why is it 250, because that's what it is. You know what I mean? So if you can just, if you come to this kind of reselling business to the point where, oh, I can sell this thing, you got to know what the hell you selling. You can you, you can I can sell a rock to anybody. I can sell a garbage can to anybody. And that was my mentality back then too. Also, is that when a person can sell a rock or a garbage can to someone that's willing to buy it, and that looking and that stink, you know what I mean? That smell, if you can sell that stuff, and I've seen it before, and I was like, huh, I want to be like that. A guy buying a freaking garbage can. Think about that. You can sell anything in the world, but there's a mentality of that guy sold it for. Why? How? Why? There's a reason why this guy is buying it for, because he can sell the garbage. I don't want to be like that. So that was important to me. That was really important to me. That was, like I said, money is there, but it will come. But then for me, the most happy thing for me that I do is like, man, I bought this garbage can for $2 and I sold it for how much? $20? That's a good feeling. You know what I mean? Like, So that was the most important thing to me when it comes to this kind of reselling
Dude,
thing.
I love how you brought that up. It's funny because so far every episode that we've had, Roxy spoke a lot about how, you want to scale slow and figure out what your consumer wants and, react to your consumer. Julio just had a brand and a passion, and the community found him, right? That's what he likes
Right.
to say. And even Bex was saying how, she kind of had her own curation and people found her. But I'm actually with you, man. I have a background in sales. So when I first started in vintage, I was like, oh my God, if someone can sell a shirt for $40 or $50, I was like, I think the biggest deal I ever closed was $1 million deals. So I'm like, I can sell a shirt. Like, come on. People want to buy it, right?
So
And it encouraged me to like want to jump into the space a little bit easier because it's like you said, right? Like there are people that are the buyers, and in any environment, if there's a buyer and you can sell, a business can be created, right? So I love that, man. I wanted to ask, so it makes sense how that was your main focus because Whatnot saw, right? Whatnot saw that you were constantly making money, you're constantly flipping, you constantly growing your income through Whatnot and your community through Whatnot, which eventually led to a sponsorship, which a lot of people didn't get. So I wanted to ask you, man, like, how did that happen? The sponsorship with Whatnot.
they messaged me back then. If you're a good seller back then, they see you, they watch you, right? So one of my goal going to Whatnot too is that I see a lot of people where, okay, this seller doesn't know who I am, this seller doesn't know who I am, and then it got to the point where, okay, back then I was like, okay, you are gonna get to know who Flipmo Picker is, right? But I did that. Excuse me, I did that. They got to know who I am. All of a sudden, this big seller know who I am. But then I was watching one of the big sellers, and it's just like, wait a minute, they're sponsored? How do you do that? So um I actually didn't reach out to Whatnot. The people that is in community, and I want to give this shout out to D Town. And D Town, I think, talked to one of the people in there also. But I'm not gonna say. I think people just see, like, people see what you're doing on Whatnot. Like, okay, this guy is there, whatever. So they saw what what I can do with the podcast, with everything. When I was doing, I was selling to. You just gotta do your thing. You got to do your thing. Is that it's easy and said and done, right? When you just got to do it. And people are, if you have a freaking whole pallet of Nikes, people are gonna buy. No, you got to sell that Nike how it looks. So if it doesn't work out for you, you got to figure it out to make it. You know what I mean? So for me, I felt like what I was doing, selling and making friends and get to know people and get to know them, what they're selling, supporting them, buying their items. I would go to everyone's supporting, or you support each other. So by me supporting them led me to be they supporting me. And then once they supported me, words is spread words like that, yo, Flip is doing this and that. Check out Flipmo Pickers. He have a YouTube channel. He's doing this for the community. You're doing something right when people are talking good about you, not talking smack about you. You know what I mean? So I think that helped to the point where for me, I'm just a seller, but some other people see as, oh, this guy is amazing, right? I don't ever put myself in that way because I do that to the people like, okay, this person is amazing. He deserves, what do you call that? And a sponsor. So I think Whatnot did the same thing too, because I feel like I was a good seller, but then and I'm not going to be like, oh, I did this by myself. Yeah, I did it, but some people helped me through it, put my name out there. It's always putting people's name out there. You know what I mean? But just like I said, Joe, if you're humble, you're gonna be humble too. You know what I mean? Like if you support someone, they're gonna support someone too. If you put good words to people, good words is gonna come out of their mouth about you also. So I think that helped of me being humble to the community, being for the community, supporting them, buying them, and until now, I'm here for 3 years, and I still have people, the same people where I come to the show like, hey, yo, Flip. And some people are coming back now where they left Whatnot and they come back like, Flip, you still back? You still here? I was like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here supporting. I'm still the same Flip mode where I supported you back then and I'm supporting you till now. You know what I mean? So you just got to support each other. And then when that support comes back, when that good karma comes back on you, you're going to get sponsored. I think that's what it was, Joe.
It makes sense, man. So Whatnot obviously has gone through a lot of changes, right? Being someone that was sponsored, you know the platform so well. What are some things that you've done over time to adapt to Whatnot?
The change of the prices, the change of the niche, the change of guys. I'm talking about this because I am the vintage category clothing, you guys. So one time Taz is just going crazy, right? One time Harley's going crazy, right? You gotta adjust and you gotta be on someone's line and support them. What sells? For me, just if you're live, Joe, I'm not just watching you, supporting you. I'm watching what sells in your stream. So what I would do is I would go to someone's live and watch what sells, and I'm not copying them, providing on what people needs. You know what I mean? I could be like you can have like a shirt that's worth $500 now, and a year later on is gonna worth $60. And that's what happened with the Harleys. The Harleys was selling like 40 to $50, dropped down to $7 right away. So if you buy a Harley shirt for $10 and you sell it for $7, you're not making money out of this. So you gotta adjust in that what sells and what people want months, days, and years. That's what you need to adjust on. You know what I mean? Like knowing what sells, knowing what you need to get it for the low, and people sometimes be like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this now." What people talk about sometimes is the Carhartt. Carhartt seems like it never go die. It only dies when it's like, of course, when it's hot. Carhartt jacket, but when winter comes, it's back to 100 to 150 to $250. You know what I mean? And it sells just like that. Once you run it, people are swiping no matter what. Because Carhartt is just an amazing. I wear a lot of Carhartt now, you know what I mean? Jacket wise and pants. And I know nothing about Carhartt, but when the winter comes, I go to it because it's a good quality item that I wear myself. So with Carhartt, what I do is I would buy them in the summer. I'll buy them now. The jacket, you can get it for 40 to $30. Winter comes in, you sell it for 100 to 150. I mean, is it there? Is the weight good on it? Yeah, because it's you're not losing profit on it. You know, even for me, I feel like a $5 to $10 profit if it sells right away, it's a profit. I'll take that any day when you're holding it for 5 to 6 months. But the thing is, you're not gonna get a Carhartt for $50 when it's winter to resell it. It makes no sense. So for me to wait for 5 to 6 months, if I'm making $50 or even $10 a month, I'm still making money off this. Is a profit.
That's
You
so
know, so
smart.
that's just how I think, Joe. I don't know. I don't know what everyone else is thinking. I'm not trying to be like,
I
hey, do
agree.
my thing.
I agree. I think that's such a good way of talking about the market itself, too. Especially because, like, I could tell you this, like, even my own shows, like, I've learned from the market, and it's funny too because a lot of times you might like I've recently had a lot of people that come into my shows asking for NASCAR, and I'm a New Yorker, right? We don't really have a lot of NASCAR tracks around us,
Right.
So, I wasn't really big into it. And recently I started picking up AOPs, and, you hold these shirts and you're like, wow, these are really high quality blanks that are being printed with really high quality designs. And you put them on and you're like, I could understand why there's a market behind this and why
So good.
someone would spend $200, right?
Right.
So it's interesting how you said that, right? How sometimes just learning from other shows and how people are pricing, how people are responding to pricing, it's smart, man. I wanted to ask you, so obviously pricing your Flipmo, right? So obviously the flip is the big part of your brand, but another big part of your brand, which seen since I first saw you on Whatnot, is your energy is by far one of the most explosive parts of who you are. I mean, whether I've seen you at 3 in the morning with karaoke on, blasting out with a buddy. You are like the most exciting person to watch. So where did that come from, man? How do you have that level of that vibe? How do you keep your energy so high?
It, for me, like I said, supporting the community on Whatnot. So when I go to your show, you you gotta entertain me. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, okay, guys, I'm sitting in the thing. If you want a t-shirt, go check out my store playing video games. I've seen that when I started, and I was like, I'm never gonna do this guy. He's never gonna make it sell. So, but the thing is, I watched him for a whole week. I'm not gonna say his name, but this guy on Whatnot, he's just like on the video games. Check out my store, and if you want something, just buy something, right? I get it if it's not your job or whatever, right? So I watched it for a whole week, and he didn't make no sell for one sell for 1 week. So I was like, huh. But then back then also, I'm a Leo, so I like, you know what I mean. You always want to be a center of attention, right? But that's just my personality. When even with my brothers and with my friends and out of the thing. So on Whatnot, when I started, like, how do I be myself? And the first person I always talk about this on my Whatnot every time I who inspire you to do this Whatnot thing, the energy that you're talking about. Bro, when I started Whatnot, if you don't know who Boricua is,
But
you
yeah, I
remember
remember.
Boricua?
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah, she was
When I
fire.
started Whatnot, Boricua was he was it. And I was like, she would go live. It doesn't even matter what time. People would go to his live, and she's getting like over 80 people. People are buying hella like $50 to $60, $200. One time she made a lot of money. Just one guy just buying everything. And I was like, I want to be like that. The music wise, I want to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, I even told Rico until now. I was like, Booty, when I started Whatnot, I wanted to be like you, guy version. So when she was setting up the way how she was selling in her room, it's the same thing when I used to sell in my room where the music is
Yeah.
loud, where everything is right there. You need a banger, you can just grab it. That's what she do. She was like, man, I got this, this, and that. I'm like, bro, but sometimes you can't do that all the time, right? You can't just be like, okay, well, I can't, but you have to. You got to be constant. You got to be consistently be on Whatnot, and people to just be like, oh, this guy fake or real? My thing is, I'm not. This is my personality. So
That was like a
for
big
you
thing
to
you used to
just
say. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like
like I can't change that. I can't change that. Like, okay, guys, you know what I mean? You can't. And I tell this to people all the time on Whatnot when we used to do podcasts is that if you're having a bad day, don't go live. Don't be selling because you are not gonna make no money. You know what I mean? So once you turn on this light on, you gotta put a show on. You gotta entertain people. It is networking. It is social. It is selling, right? First of all, it is a selling app, but then at the same time, some people like me, when I watch you and I'm like, oh my God, it's such a good show. It makes me want to just tip some money. Like the other night, I don't need jerseys, but they were entertaining me to the point where I bought a bundle. Like I start swiping. I can't buy anything anymore. I just start swiping because I'm entertained. I'm not just buying your item. I'm buying your personality and your show and how you put your show. That's just me. All right. Some people are just like, okay, I'm just gonna buy some shoes and socks. Okay, I got my socks, I'm done. But the thing is, Whatnot is so addicting to the point where I get to know people and sellers. It's like, man, this is fun. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he needs this, he needs to sell this, and no one's buying it. And how I know and I can flip that? Where else can I get it from? Might as well buy from this person that I've been supporting since day one. You know what I mean? And he needs it and he's gone. Hey, let me take it. So I'm not just sitting there to buy. I'm also sitting there to network, to make friends, and to see if the show is right. You know what I mean? You mentioned Fulio. You've seen Fulio's. since day one when he was just like he would go live doing it, painting. I'm curious how he does his thing. Like I want to do it because I'm not artistic like that. Like I can't draw a circle for the right circle. You know what I mean? Like perfect circle. Like fool you can, he probably could, right? So when he does this show doing that dye t-shirt, I'm like, how the hell does he do this? I'm curious. So that's entertaining for me. So if you're Fuyo and you're not doing your thing and you're just sitting there not doing anything, looking at the camera, it's not entertaining to me. Let me go to another show, you know? Another show. I would go to Roxy. I'll watch her. I get to know her a little bit. And she's fun. I was like, the first thing when I saw your sister Roxy, bro, I was looking at the neon light. And I was like, bro, I need one of that.
Pink one, yeah.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm talking about? So I asked, I knew nothing about her. So I asked her. So I was like, hey, where'd you get the neon light on? So you get it from Amazon, da da da. But her vibe was there. She was getting like 40 to 50 people. And I was like, wait a minute, what is she selling? And then I started to get to know her and she's like, hey. And then the thing also, like, what really works in my show is that Roxy's really good when inviting people to come in the show. So I'm learning too. I'm learning from your sister. I'm learning from everyone that comes. Like, hey, and Gimme Goods is really good at this too. When you come to Gimme Goods and he sees your name, yo, what up, Joe? Yo, what up, Flipmo? He does that thing, right? So Roxy does the same thing. Like, hey, yo, what up, Flipmo? How you doing? Asking, like, you're not just like showing the item. When you come into their show, I felt like you said my name. Like, okay, what are you selling? You know what I mean? Like, you're curious now what you selling now. Okay. So it got to the point where me and her, of course, we got to know each other, and it gets to the point where we're friends now. We went to Vegas, and now we are here like this. Same thing, you know, same thing with that. And Bex, oh man, I remember when her and her partner, I don't know, they're together now, but they were fun. They had the game show going, the questions. I would sit there and just play with them. Bex was that
Yeah,
show was fun.
Bexy was even saying how when she first and that's why I can't wait to start releasing the episodes. And if anyone like started the podcast at this episode and maybe because they know you Flip and they've never seen Roxy or never seen Bex, yeah, it is cool because even like Roxy was saying in her episode how Roxy started out through different apps that weren't as community driven, so you had to reach out to people and make relationships and do text groups to communicate. So that's how she started, was being focused on the individuals that were in her show because she didn't have a surplus that were coming in all the time, and it's cool, man. I like it. Even Bex was saying how when she first started, her introduction was she wanted to create an entertainment show. Like you said, she was actually trying to create almost like a TV show. So yeah, man. Any lives for you like where it was like very memorable, like maybe like heights or like crazy stories?
The latest one was any live at all?
Yeah, there's been so many. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering because I've seen so many fun shows with you, and I
The
wonder what you think.
best that was me, Gimme Goods, Word 625, bunch of whatnot people, Talento, Hidden Treasure, Alphabet Shayna. We got some buyers that came to Vegas. We went to Vegas. Finders Keeper is one of my biggest buyers that lives here on the Bay Area where I can just come to his house and drop off whatever she bought, right? Ever since she won my YouTube giveaway, which I need to do that. I have not think of that for a longest time. I have not done a giveaway on YouTube. That's why my YouTube's kind of slow right now, and I haven't uploaded anything. But anything, anyways, we got a lot of people came in to meet up in Vegas. Passion to plug, passion to plug, right? Well, Shop with Loso's, Trippy, and I'm mentioning all these people. We get to meet Rocha in there. You know what I mean? You meet a lot of people in the event, which I go to a lot of events, ThriftCon, right? To meet with whatnot people, right? But that was the best, one of the best. J Boogie. That was one of the best episodes where we put our clothes together. I went live with my account, and everyone, we just hyped it up with their followers. Like, hey, come to Flipmo's show. We're gonna be over there reselling all these bangers. We ran some of the bangers t-shirt, and after that, we went gambling and drinking, and it was fun. Real people that I look up to and watch on whatnot. I feel like I'm watching one of the artists, and then I get to hang out with him after. You know what I mean? We went to Las Vegas, which is one of the biggest place to be, and got together and Caesar Palace, where Gimmy's cousin hooked us up with a room. and it was amazing until now.
Yeah.
Until now, not just that event. After that event, we went out, we went karaoke, we went gambling, we went drinking, we went to the club, we walked the whole thing. It was all the whole shebang of not just going live. You know how when you go live here in 1 hour, it's just like, okay, I'm done. I gotta pack. No, after we go live, we'll take care of that. Pull that all in the bag. I'll put it on my luggage. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Let's go out and have a good time with the people that you watch or whatnot. So that is one of the most memorable thing I've ever done. I mean, so it's fun. I mean, we've been trying to plan to go to New York with you guys, right? To meet up. Imagine doing that and everyone had a great time. Like everyone talked about like how good that was. Like, yeah, some people are asking me like, okay, now that we're here and all that stuff, I was in Florida. They're like, okay, which one is better? What is the best thing? Vegas. I would say Vegas trip with the homies, Give Me Good and J Boogie and Talento and Word 65 and all of them, Hidden Treasure. We all came in there and bought our ticket and we had a good time.
Yeah, I
You
love
know,
that. I mean, it's cool too because even like Bex was saying it, and I think this is just like a general thing. Like, if anybody's ever had a business outside of just reselling, or maybe they're a part of like an art community similar to Fulio, it's just nice to be around like-minded people that are passionate, that are
right?
driven, that care about the same things that you care. It's such a weird. It's such a nice feeling. It's so
Well,
smooth.
like you know what they said is like if you hang out with five successful people, you're gonna be the sixth. And the people with this kind of business, you guys also is that with this kind of business, you gotta be with the right people. You have to. You can't have people dragging you down. You gotta have someone that's just like give me goods always that I talk to. Like, hey, push me, you know what I mean? Like do this. Do this, flip. You're doing this. You keep doing this. Do this. You gotta have that kind of people instead of like bringing you down because you never know what could happen the next day with this kind of business. You know what I mean? Like I'm in a slump right now where I've done it so many times to the point where okay, I don't have to do go live tomorrow. I don't have to go do this and that. I'm hitting that slump, which everyone I think goes through it. You know what I mean? Like I think you just like physically and mentally tired of it. You know what I mean? But it's not gonna be out of your system. You're still gonna come back and just be like, I'm just that slump. Like I said, even God take Sunday off. But if you've been doing this almost every day for a past couple of years, you're gonna get tired. You're gonna get slumped. You gotta get overworked with it, and your mind is just gonna be like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. You gotta have that spark to get through it again. To do that, you gotta have the right people to give that little spark again to push you. Like I'm being honest with you right now, doing this little co-host thing. Oh my god, I love it, man. It's pushing me again and going back to it. What he goes through, and you're asking me this question is like it brings me back what needs to be done in the future and how to take it to the next level. You know what I mean? He's giving me that little spark to be just like, okay, it's time to work. It's time to get back to it.
Them, man. And honestly, man, like that, it's so crazy because you really are an inspiration. Like you built a brand, you've done things that, you actually physically have done things that have helped people grow their business and their brand, made them money, developed relationships. Like you change lives. And, everybody goes through a little bit of burnout and, ups and downs and lefts and rights. And that's the goal for this podcast, man, is to share it with your experiences, to maybe find someone like Fulio said that, where he was not sure if he was going to have a house or he's going to be homeless. And it was, you know what? Maybe someone out there is going through that situation. Maybe someone right now is burned out. They have a YouTube channel, they have a business, and they're burnt out. And hearing that and feeling like, okay, this is normal when I put all my effort, all my energy into something that I care about, that there's going to be times where I might feel a little down, but hearing someone say that they are too makes it normalized and ready to just get right back into it, right? Any tips, speaking of that, any tips for someone that's not where we're at right now, or you're at specifically? They've never done a podcast, they've never had a YouTube channel, they've never even resold anything, right? They weren't even the ones that sold the candy bars at their school, right? Any tips for someone getting into that, into the
So a reseller, dealer, just stick to your guts. Stick to what you feel is right. I'm not in your situation. I'm talking to the new seller who wants to do this reselling thing. It's fun. It's fun. Not a lot of people respect what we do. And if you ask a kid right now, do you want to be a doctor or a reseller? Not a lot of people are gonna tell you reseller. You know what I mean? But the situation that you at right now, if you want to be my situation is different with everyone else. It's different with Joe, different with Fulio. And so it's good to just be like, do your thing. You know what I mean? It's good to have someone to tell you, like, oh, that's not gonna work, this and that. But the thing is, in the end of the day, you are gonna make that adjustment and that decision of, you know what? I like what I'm going through it. Thank you for your advice. It's always good to take advice, but it's best to do it your own feel. You know what I mean? Like, if you love it, if you know it's right, do it. And if it doesn't go all right, you have nothing to blame but yourself. I don't know. That's me. Cause like if I messed up with my reselling, let's say I bought this for 15 bucks and I sold it for 10 bucks, that's my fault. It's not Joe's fault. So if you think that you can get this for $1 and sell it for 15, it feels so good when that thing comes through because you made your own decision, no one else did. At the end of the day, with this kind of business, you own your own thing. And it's good, like I said, we mentioned earlier, when you have all the right people around you pushing you, because you will hit that snag to the point where, okay, I messed up on that one. Okay, I paid 10 bucks on that t-shirt and I sold it for 5 bucks. Okay, I messed up on that one. You need to have someone just like, yo, to remind you that, yo, Flip, like, Jimmy, Flip, you bought that for 10 bucks. It makes no sense you sell it for 5. That kind of advice that you need. You don't need someone next to you or the people telling you is like, you doing that wrong, my guy. You do this and that. Well, you're never gonna know. I would never be a YouTuber or where I'm at right now if I listen to the other people. It's like, you could never be a YouTuber. Well, I could say I am because I'm getting paid doing YouTube now, right? Joe, before I did not believe that I'm a YouTuber. I did not believe that. The time I realized when I got paid, the third time I got paid, which is not a big thing, it was the biggest back then. It was one of the biggest paid I did. It was $287. And I looked at it, I was like, wait, is this right? I'm getting paid. Back then, I was getting paid like 120, like 103. I need one, when I mean 107. It went from 110 to like 287. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm a YouTuber. You know what I mean? And no one can take that away from me because I'm getting paid for that. I'm not trying to be all cocky or anything, but that's what it is. If I did not listen to myself to the point where, you know what, I can do this. If I listen to someone that's like, no, you can't do it, bro. You don't know how to edit and all that stuff. I'm not getting paid. I'm not being a YouTuber. I'm not where I'm at right now for the community and know me for what I do. You know what I mean? Stick to your ground, stick to your lane, stay humble in what you're doing, and believe in what you're doing. That's my thing, what I can say to
Any tips on how to stay consistent with content? Because that's something I've noticed a lot of people struggle with is, how do I get content? And, the uncomfortable part, you have your shirts, but you're gonna record them on any tips on how to stay consistent? Because you've been very consistent with.
with that, you have to understand that this is not just for the show. You got to understand that this is the thing that you love. So if you don't love what you're doing, you are not gonna make it. That's how you stay constantly to do what you're doing. If you're doing this just to, like, I want to be famous, I'm not famous. I'm not big or anything, right? But if you're doing this to just be like, I want to do this because I want to be just like Flipmo Pickers. I want to be just like Jacob Star. I want to be one of these YouTubers that they're doing. You're not gonna make it if you're gonna do it just one time. I've seen people tell me like, yo, Flip, you aspire to be a YouTuber. They did the YouTube, they bought the GoPro, they did the videos, and they never uploaded. That is part, just like reselling. You can't just go live and then sell a t-shirt and then don't pack it. Packing is part of the business. That's how you make your money. So when you become like a reseller or a YouTuber, editing is part of it. And editing is like 6 to 8 hours. Mind you, it took me, my first YouTube video took me 10 days to edit, and I stick to it. Get to it, get a little better. How do I become better on it to make it faster or do this? Doesn't that my butt doesn't hurt that much? What do I need to do to take it to the next level? That instantly you gotta be like, I can do this and doing it fun in the same time. That's how because bro, I'm telling you, I can just be like, I don't want to do this anymore. You could, and that's it. All the thing that you work hard for is like that's it. That you, whatever your vision, stick to your vision, stick to your lane, and the same time, be humble. Because if you're not humble, we've been saying this, Joe, my show. If you're not humble, you're not gonna go anywhere. You're not gonna go anywhere. I'm telling you. Because some people out here just be like, "Oh, I'm the shit now. Oh, I'm this and that." In your world, yes, but in outside of it, there's people are watching. There's people are just be like, "Yeah, okay, okay," you know.
It's usually those people that are like the ones that decline the beginning. They're like, you don't want to brag about the people that are supporting you.
And like you said earlier too, Joe, like you gotta find people around you that would doing the same thing that you love. Because like I said, if they're not, if you don't have that support, you're gonna get burned out. Like if you're doing this by yourself, people are just like, oh, you got to do it. I know I said like, oh, you got to do, but you got to have people that support you too. You know what I mean? And that's where the being humble is at. Because when people see you're humble, you know what I mean? Hopefully you don't get taken, people not take advantage of it. You're not taking advantage of that. You're becoming more to support them, and then the support will come back to you. That's what we've been saying.
I agree. I have JC. JC. I'm gonna shout him out as the person I'm calling him out, but I'll sometimes I'll schedule a live and then I'll have something that comes up, and he's the first person to be like, "Yo, bro, you gotta."
Oh,
But
JC
guys,
Acosta?
yeah. I love it. It's my bro. Guys, I absolutely love this podcast. Flip, you are such a mind. You really are. You're such an inspiration. You're so community driven and passionate. It's so simple. How it's so crazy how your mind is so simple and so humble with just being about dollars and the cents, right? And the flip, right? But then can be as complex and advanced to think about spotlighting people in your community and helping them grow alongside you and being focused on that and using it as a pusher for yourself. So, man, you are such an inspiration for not only myself, you know, people in the community that don't know you. Please tap into Flipmo. Tell everybody where to find you, where they can support you, what projects you have going on, man. This is all yours. Tell people where they can, they can spend some money with you and just support you.
All right, guys. Yeah, please check out Flipmo Pickers on Instagram. Flipmo Pickers 27 Instagram. Like I said, we've been talking about how on Whatnot. My mainly thing is on Whatnot. I used to do eBay a lot, but my main thing is Whatnot. We all hated the listing part on eBay. So Whatnot is where I'm at. You guys will find me there, and of course, check out Flipmo Pickers on YouTube, Instagram, YouTube, and Whatnot. That's where I'm at. So if you guys here in the Bay Area too, let me know. We'll go hit at the flea market or whatever you guys need to do.
Any
But yeah,
final message to the community before you go, before we end the episode?
First of all, I just want to say, Joe, thank you for letting me do this with you, man. It's just sparked a little bit for me. Lately I just been like the snag that we're talking about. I hit that snag a little bit. I need to get back into the business. Also, one of the spark that really helped me a lot too is that when I sold 3 bikes, vintage bikes, 2 days ago for over $600. So that's a little spark right there, getting back with the bikes too. So he's bringing more people to check out all the bike parts and all that stuff. So that's a spark. I'm in a new place here, supporting my parents back here. I'm a 40-year-old back with my parents in a good way, you guys. I just want to say, like I said, Joe, I really really appreciate you hitting me up and doing this podcast with you. It's been since day one. You guys were there. I've been supporting you guys, you and Roxy and the family there. I always want to say, man, we need to do this real Whatnot thing. Like we were talking about the Vegas thing. We got to take it back to where you at, New York,
New York,
Brooklyn.
baby. Yep.
Yeah, we need to bring all the people there with Spama or with Roxy or Bex, and we need to get together and make it happen. Maybe in the future where real podcasts in the same room on a making. That's how the future, what I'm seeing right now with this podcast with you, Joe, is that the mics everywhere that everyone does and have a little conversation talk and have their own take. Maybe me, Fulio, Roxy, and Bex will be get together, you in the same room, and have our own sense on things that we need to talk about. So I think with this thing, you just got to keep going, Joe. Whatever you're doing with this podcast and this community, you building, I think it's gonna get through the roof with the right support and the right people that guide you with it. So we here for you. We love you, Joe. Thank you thank you for your time. Thank you for having me here. That's all I can say to the people that are out there. Like I always say, please, please, please do not hate on the grind. I'll see you guys on the flip side.
I appreciate you guys so much. So, guys, I promise I didn't pay too much for that sponsorship with Flipmo, by the way. I promise. It was very affordable. No, guys, this episode was amazing. Honestly, Flip, for me, was one of the most authentic, community-driven, creative people in the vintage space. Really just learning more about how your mind, you can balance the flip with the financial side of it, with just the passion for people and community. This has been an amazing episode, and I appreciate you so much for being on here. Guys, we're going to be doing episodes like this all the time, guys. It's going to be a weekly thing. We're going to be promoting on socials like Instagram, TikToks, follow us. And guys, Spotify and YouTube, it'll be coming out every single week. So hope you guys learned something amazing today and took something you can apply into your business tomorrow. I love you guys. Thank you so much for checking in with us again. And until the next time, guys, see you soon.
Hey guys.